Hello students, so far in this chapter we have studied the production of X-rays, the types of X-rays, that is continuous X-ray and the characteristic X-ray. Then we have studied some important characteristics of X-ray lines, that means X-ray spectra. So how the X-ray spectra can be uh, indicated by certain names, that means the different series of X-rays, and the fine structure of X-rays also we have discussed last time. Now at the end of this chapter today we are going to study an important topic, that is OJ effect. So even though according to the spelling here it appears Auger, but the pronunciation one should make as OJ. So OJ effect. So we shall try to understand what is OJ effect, and based on that an important technique known as OJ electron spectroscopy, AES, that also we are going to study in this particular lecture. So first of all I will introduce you what is actually OJ effect. So for that we have to once again go to the process of production of characteristic X-rays. You know that highly monochromatic and very intense beam of X-rays can be produced, and these X-rays they are known as characteristic X-rays. So how they are produced? When highly energetic electrons which are accelerated due to high potential applied at the target material, that means at the anode. So the electrons will strike the atoms of the target material and they will go deep into the inner shell of the atom. If the energy of these electrons is sufficient to make the electron free from their position from the inner shell, for example K shell or L shell, whatever it may be. So the energy of this external bombarded electron will be utilized to make the inner shell electron free from the atom. So how much energy is required? That depends upon what is the target material, what type of atom it is, and what is the ionization energy, or you can say binding energy of that electron in a particular shell. If the energy of the bombarded electron is more than the binding energy of that electron in a shell, inner shell, then definitely that electron will be made free. So once the inner shell electron is made free from its position will be occupied from the outer shell electron. For example, suppose the electron from K shell has been removed by the bombardment of highly energetic electron. Then suppose the outer shell, that means L shell. So L shell electron may jump to occupy the vacant position in K shell. So whatever the difference between these energies during this transition, that will be given out in the form of photon, and this is the highly energetic photon of certain wavelength, and this is nothing but the characteristic X-ray. This is nothing but the characteristic X-ray. So this is how characteristic X-rays are produced. They are highly energetic and the very high intensity beam of X-rays is produced in this particular case. So in order to understand what is OJ effect and what is OJ electron, one must consider this process of production of the characteristic X-rays. Okay, so the characteristic X-rays, they are produced in this manner. They appear in the form of the photons, electromagnetic radiations. Okay, but sometimes it may happen that during this transition, that means the outer shell electron when jump to occupy the position in an inner shell, then in that particular process whatever the electron emitted, whatever the electron made free, that particular electron once again strike the outer electron, or you can say the photon release. The photon release in this particular process, which is a result of the transition from outer shell to inner shell, that photon energy may be utilized. This energy release may be utilized to make another electron free from outer shell. Another electron free from the outer shell. So, electron released or emitted in this manner, that is called as OJ electron. That is called as a OJ electron. So when inner shell electron level is occupied by outer shell electron, energy equal to difference between the two levels is given out. So when this energy appears in the form of photon, that is a characteristic X-ray. But sometimes this energy may be directly used to make the outer shell electron free from the same atom. So this energy is given out in the form of X-rays, or sometimes it may be utilized to make free another electron from the outer shell. So instead of giving out characteristic X-ray in the form of photon, what happens here? This energy is utilized. Instead of emitting a photon, this energy is utilized to make free another electron from the outer shell. And such particular electron is called as the OJ electron. Okay, so such particular electron is called as a OJ electron. Now this OJ electron, they were discovered independently by two scientists, Leis Mentner and Victor OJ. Victor OJ. So this effect was named after this scientist Victor OJ. Therefore, it is known as OJ effect. This is known as OJ effect. So this effect is very important. That is the OJ effect. Now, how this process happens, I will just explain whatever I have told in the introduction. I will explain with this particular example. So, how the OJ electrons are given out. Now, as I have told you, the way how the characteristic X-rays are produced. So, see here, this is the K shell of a particular target atom. This is the L shell. Now, L shell, you know that it has a fine structure. So, there are sub levels L1, L2, L3 and so on. Okay. For example, in optical spectroscopic terms, it is represented 2s half, 2p half, 2p3 by 2. Okay. So, depending on the L value, you know that orbital quantum number. Okay. So, orbital quantum number here for this, it is 0. Okay. N is equal to 1, therefore 0, and therefore only one level. But here orbital quantum number is 1. So, 2L plus 1. So, 2 into L. L is 1. So, therefore 3 sublevels are there. L first. So, in X-ray spectroscopy term, they are represented like this. L first, L second and L third. Whereas optical spectroscopic terms, they are represented in this manner. Okay. So, if suppose in the method of production of X-rays, suppose the external electron which is accelerated by high potential, it strikes the electron in K shell, okay, and this electron is made free. This electron is made free. So its position will be occupied by any electron in the outer shell. Let us assume that suppose the electron from the L shell, and particularly you can say suppose L first sublevel of L shell is now trying to occupy this position. See, this is the vacant position. Now this electron has jumped from here. Therefore, there is a vacant position here. So this is in a process of transition from L first to K shell. So this electron will try to occupy this vacant position. So what will happen? An energy which is difference between these two levels, that will be released here. Normally, sometimes it is released in the form of X-ray photon, but sometimes this energy is absorbed or utilized by any outer shell electron, and that electron will be made free if this energy difference is greater than the binding energy in that level of a particular electron. Suppose now whatever the energy released here, that is utilized by this level, and the electron from this L3 level is made free. So this energy is greater than the binding energy of this electron. So it will be made free if it is absorbed here. So this electron released in this manner, this is called as the OJ electron. This is called as the OJ electron. You can see here. So this process is called as OJ effect, and the OJ electron can be named by certain notations. Okay, in the spectroscopic terms, it is represented in this manner. Let us try to understand what is the name given and why it is written in this fashion. So whatever the initial transition that has took place, that is between these two levels. Okay, so initially the original electron, okay, original vacancy that was created in L shell, it was occupied by the electron from L first level of L shell. So original shell, then the shell from which the electron jump to occupy this position, that is L first, you can see here. So these are first of all named, and the energy released during this transition, it is utilized to release electron from outer shell. So whatever the outer shell, for example in this case I have shown here L3. So third letter used is L3. So the title given to or name given to this OJ electron is K-L1-L3. So K is the original shell, L1 is the electron which has jumped to occupy the vacant position in K shell, and whatever the energy release, it is used to make this electron from L3 free, therefore L3. So K, L first, L3, this is the title or tag, you can say, to represent a OJ electron. So by just reading this title or this name, you can easily understand from which particular transition this OJ electron has been produced. This OJ electron has been produced, and this is another process, you can say. Sometimes it may result, the transition may result in production of OJ electron, or sometimes it may result in production of X-rays. So production of characteristic X-rays, this is shown over here. You can see, suppose there is a vacant position because of bombardment of highly energetic electron on the target material from K shell. Okay, so K shell electron has been removed. So its position, suppose it is occupied by the electron from L shell. So the energy given out is in the form of photon, and this is the characteristic X-ray K alpha 2. Okay, we, according to our notations, earlier we have seen, this is the X-ray photon given out, and it is named as K alpha 2. So both of these possibilities are there. Sometimes characteristic X-ray may be given out, or sometimes this energy release may be utilized by outer shell electron to become free from the target atom, and the electron given out is called as the OJ electron, and this entire effect or this process is named as OJ effect. So this is how one can explain what is actually OJ effect. Now let us see how this OJ effect is important. Okay, and for that one has to understand the kinetic energy of OJ electron. Kinetic energy of OJ electron. Now in order to understand the kinetic energy, what will be the kinetic energy of this OJ electron? It is very simple. So initially the energy release in this transition, that means the energy difference between these two levels, L first and K, this is the energy level, and this energy release is utilized to make this electron free. So the kinetic energy of this electron will be the binding energy. So part of this energy release in this transition will be utilized to make this electron free. Okay, suppose this energy is much greater than the binding energy of this electron. So what will happen? Part of this energy will be utilized to overcome the binding energy. Okay, so this energy minus binding energy of this, that will be the final energy of this, final kinetic energy of this electron. So kinetic energy of the electron will be the energy release during the transition between the inner shell and outer shell electron, and minus the binding energy of the outer shell electron, that is the OJ electron. So the remaining energy will be the kinetic energy of this OJ electron. So kinetic energy of OJ electron is very important. So we shall discuss here what is its importance. The kinetic energy of OJ electron is the difference between the energy of initial electronic transition and the ionization energy, or you can say binding energy, for the electron shell from which the OJ electron was ejected. So just I have represented over the diagram. Then the OJ electron energy depends upon type of atom. How? Because you know that whatever the target atom, accordingly the energy difference will be dependent here. Okay, for large atomic number, this energy difference will be different than the lower atomic number. So whatever these energy levels, they will be decided by what is the atom. So initial energy minus the binding energy of the electron in that particular level, that will also depend upon the atom, type of atom. So for different atomic numbers, the binding energy in different levels will be different. So this energy minus this, both of these energies are characteristics of a particular atom, type of atom. It will depend upon type of atom, and these are fixed energy. So the remaining energy will be the kinetic energy. So indirectly you can say that kinetic energy of OJ electron is also representing some characteristic of the energies involved in an atom, either the energy levels or the binding energies of the electrons in the atom. So therefore you can say that the kinetic energy of OJ electron, as we have seen, it is the difference between the energy of initial electronic transition and the ionization energy for the electron shell from which the OJ electron was ejected. So the OJ electron energy depends upon type of atom and its chemical environment. So what is this chemical environment? Type of atom I have just told you. So chemical environment means the sometimes the atom is part of certain compound, okay, or part of certain molecule. So it is being surrounded by certain different atoms. So there is a force acting on the electrons in a particular atom. So accordingly, the energy levels or the binding energies may be modified, and therefore the that is also affecting the energy of OJ electron. So therefore the chemical environment is equally important. The OJ electron energy forms the basis of OJ spectroscopy. This is very important. So therefore, whatever, if you analyze the energy of these ejected electrons, that means OJ electron, in a particular process, then definitely from that you can identify which may be the atom, what is the type of atom involved in the material from which it is released. Okay, so that is identification of a particular atom. That is possible by studying the energy of this OJ electron, and this is called as OJ spectroscopy. So let us see now this OJ electron spectroscopy. OJ electron spectroscopy, AES. So OJ electron spectroscopy is important analytical technique for obtaining the chemical composition of solid surfaces. Okay, so what is chemical composition of solid surfaces? So if you have any particular sample, solid sample, maybe there may be different atoms present in that particular solid sample, and you want to know which particular atoms are present in the sample, given sample, solid sample. So you just take the OJ electron spectra of that solid sample. That means you bombard some electrons, just like we are bombarding electron on the target material while producing X-rays. So you bombard highly energetic electrons that will produce the OJ electron. You study the energy of OJ electron, and from the energy possessed by this OJ electron, you can definitely know what type of atoms are present in the given sample. So that is what the analytical tool here, analytical technique to identify the composition of solid surfaces. So OJ spectroscopy measures energy of emitted electron. What is important for us? To measure the energy of emitted electron from the surface region atoms of the sample, because the electrons which are bombarded on the solid surface, they cannot go very deep into the solid material. So only few angstroms they can go. So you can analyze the surface composition only. Remember, only surface composition we can analyze. So a spectrum of intensity of electron as a function of kinetic energy of OJ electron. So OJ electron spectroscopy involves a spectra. So any spectra, you can say, typically here OJ electron spectra has two axes. It is a graph simply. Okay, it is a graph. Graph of what? The intensity of electron. Intensity of electron means the number of electrons emitted having particular energy. Okay, so depending on more is the number of electron of a particular energy, more will be the intensity. So intensity of electron against the kinetic energy of OJ electron. So what is studied here? So the number of electron having particular energy, they are counted. Also the different electrons having different kinetic energies, they are also measured. So on x-axis you can have the kinetic energy, and on y-axis we have the intensity of electron. That means for a particular energy how many electrons are there. That will represent the intensity of the electrons. So that is nothing but your OJ electron spectra, and from this spectra a particular peak that is appearing will be responsible, or it is a characteristics of certain atom only. It is a unique feature of a particular atom, and once you have a standard database for a particular atom which peaks can be only observed, then from the standard database you can easily identify in an unknown sample which atoms are present. So this is a very important analytical technique for obtaining the chemical composition of a solid surface. So the placement of the peaks gives a qualitative view, only qualitative view. Qualitative means to know what type of atoms are present, not exactly how many atoms or what is the proportion of different atoms. That cannot be identified here. Only what type of atoms are present in a given solid surface, that one can understand here. So different elements present on the surface of the sample, they can be identified. And this particular technique has high sensitivity for chemical analysis, but it has limitation. What limitation? The surface region which it can analyze is only up to 5 to 20 angstrom unit region near the surface of the sample, because highly energetic electron, they cannot go very deep inside the solid surface. Only in a region 5 to 20 angstrom unit you can uh, know about the chemical composition of that surface. So this is the limitation of this spectroscopic tool, OJ electron spectroscopy. So what are the main feature of OJ electron spectroscopy? First one, rapid data acquisition speed. Rapid data acquisition speed means what? This process is very fast. That means here once you start the electron beam in a very highly vacuum system, and you are focusing the electron beam on the target, that means the given sample which you want to analyze for its surface composition. So as soon as the electron beam is focused on a particular part of the surface, immediately you will get the OJ electron emitted. The OJ electron will be received by the energy analyzer, electron energy analyzer, and this energy immediately is plotted by the computer as a function of its kinetic energy. Okay, kinetic energy and the what do you call as the intensity of electron, and this is nothing but the spectra, and from which you can identify the elements present in the surface. It has high spatial resolution. That means if you want to analyze a particular part of your sample, then you can focus the electron beam at a particular point also. So it has high spatial resolution. This is also an important characteristics of this particular tool or this spectroscopic technique. Then it has ability to detect all elements above helium. So in a given solid surface, it can detect all elements above helium. You know that helium has atomic number 2, and below helium, the elements, that is hydrogen and helium, it cannot be detected. Because what is the reason? The reason is that, the process of emission of OJ electron, for that at least you should have 3 levels in an atom. First 2 levels, there will be a transition, okay, and the energy release will be utilized to make the electron free from outer shell electron. Outer shell means other than these 2 levels. In helium, we have only 2 levels, K and L. Okay, two electrons. So there are only 2 electrons. Okay, there will be a transition, and there will be no outer shell electron available for emission, and therefore OJ electrons will not be produced in helium and hydrogen. So they will not be detected in a given solid sample. This is also one of the important limitation. So this is the characteristic of the spectra, you can say, uh, OJ electron spectra. So in this way, we have completed this chapter, that is X-ray spectroscopy.